Hello lovelies, my name is DK Oni and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to show you how to cut this beautiful skirt. Here's my fabric, my ruler, my scissors, my chalk obviously, and my tape. So here is my client's measurement. Her hips is 40 inches, her waist is 27, her waist to hips, that is a high waist, 11 inches, her skirt length is 21.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my fabric using her measurement, that's hips divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches, which is going to be my sewing allowance, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and cross check it, unfold like so. I'm going to go ahead and rule a straight line, which is going to serve as my top line. So for this skirt, I'm going to make use of 2 inches. So I'm going to place my 2 inches on my top line and place my waist to hips, which is 11 inches plus half of an inch for joining allowance back to the band. So makes a total of 11.5 inches like so. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it across my fabric like so. So I'm going to go ahead and make the markings clear with the use of my ruler like so, as you can see. So I'm going to place my skirt length, which is 21.5. I'm subtracting 4 inches for the length of the gathered part at the hem of the skirt, which gives me a total of 17.5 inches. 17.5 inches. So I'm going to add 1 inches for joining allowance to the band of the skirt and half an inch allowance to join the gathered part at the hem of the skirt. Gives me a total of 18.5 inches. So I went ahead to add 1.5 inches to the skirt length because my client has more of hips, so I don't want the skirt to jump after wearing it. So I added 1.5 inches to the skirt length to prevent it from reducing after wearing the skirt. That's the sense of 1.5 inches I added. So I went ahead and placed the total skirt length, then made use of my ruler to make the markings clear like so, as you can see. So here's our waistline, here's the hips line. That's from the waistline to the skirt length line, as you can see. So I went ahead to divide our waist by 4, that is 27 divided by 4, 6.75 inches plus 1 inch for the dart allowance, gives a total of 7.75 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and place it on the waistline like so. 6.75 inches plus 1 inch dart allowance like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 inches for the seam allowance like so. So on the hips line, I went ahead to divide our hips by 4. 40 divided by 4, it's a total of 10 inches. Place 10 inches like so. Then I added 1.5 inches for the seam allowance like so. Then on the skirt length, I divided our hips by 4, then subtracted 1.5 inches to contour it. That is 40 divided by 4, 10 inches minus 1.5 inch. I got 8.5 inches. That's what I'm going to place on the skirt length line to give it that beautiful fit. 8.5 inches, then plus 1.5 inches for the seam allowance like so. So as you can see how it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead to connect the waistline to the hip line like so, then from the hip line to the skirt length line. So connect your markings like so with the use of my ruler like so, as you can see. So I went ahead to make a curve there because it was looking sharp. So after that, I went ahead to cut out my skirt look like so. Just watch the way I'm cutting through, because I'm cutting through the lines like so. So still cutting, as you can see. So I went ahead to notch the midpoint of my front skirt to actually guide me like so. So for the basket unfold a total of my front skirt block, which is 11.5 plus 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So I'm trying to cross check what I have on fold. So I went ahead to mark 1 inch for the zipper allowance. Actually, the width of my ruler is actually 1 inch. So with the use of my ruler, I made a line to guide me. So I place my front skirt block onto the back piece, taking note of the notch part. So that notch part, which is the folded part, is what I'm going to place on the zipper area like so. Place it on that zipper line like so, the folded part on the zipper line like so. The essence of that notch part is actually to guide you so you can know the top of the skirt. So I went ahead to cut out my back piece, the fabric that I'm going to use for the back piece, using the front skirt block as a guide like so, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out my markings. Just make sure everything aligns. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out my markings. That's the hip line. I'm tracing it onto the back fabric like so. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out the waist to hips line like so. Just trace the front block onto the back piece, that's in the back like so. So I went ahead to trace the skirt length, that's the hem of the skirt like so, as you can see. So just trace out all the markings you have on your front block. Just trace it onto the back fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and make the markings visible. That's my hip line. So I'm connecting the lines like so, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and make the markings of the zipper line clear. That's zipper allowance. So as you can see, that's our waist to skirt length line. That's our zipper allowance, which is 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and go in by half of an inch from the zipper area. That is the center back of my skirt. Half of an inch at the top of the skirt like so. And I'm going to do the same onto the hem of the skirt by the center back of the skirt. Go in by half of an inch. I'm going to connect the top to the hip line, and from the hem of the skirt to the hip line also like so. Nice, from the center back of my skirt, so connect it. That's half of an inch. This is actually a way to contour the center back of your skirt to give that bum illusion. So like so. So as you can see how curved it looks like now. So I'm going to go ahead and return the half an inch I went in by to the side back of my skirt like so. Do the same for the top and the hem of the skirt. So I'm going to return my half of an inch at the side back, the top of the side back of the skirt, and also return the half of an inch at the hem of the skirt, the side back of the hem of the skirt. So as you can see, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the two to the hip line. Connect the top of my side back to the hip line and the hem of the skirt to the hip line like so. So what I did, I just returned the half of an inch I went in by at the center back of my skirt. So I returned it to the side back of the skirt like so. So on the zipper area now, I'm going to mark out 1 inch, which is my zipper allowance, starting from the half of an inch I went in by at the center back of my skirt. So I'm going to go ahead and place the 1 inch straight down to the hem of the skirt, the 1 inch which is going to serve as my zipper allowance like so. So as you're marking the 1 inch, you're going to notice how you're going to notice that the line is no longer straight, it's curvy, like so, to give our bum bum illusion. And at the hem of the skirt, like so, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler to trace out the dotted lines I made, like so. Make sure you do not have a sharp point at the hip line. Make sure it's curvy, like so. Connect it, like so, as you can see, which is going to serve as my zipper allowance. That's the 1 inch, and you can see how curvy it looks like to give that bum bum illusion. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out my back skirt block, like so. That's the line we're going to cut through. That's our new line, like so. Just watch the lines I'm cutting through, like so. So over to the zipper area, also watch the lines I'm cutting through, because that's a new zipper line, like so, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and notch the 1/2 inch I went in by to actually guide me that that's where the zipper allowance is at. So you can see how it's looking like. Just place the front skirt block onto the back skirt block to show you how it's looking like, as you can see. So I want to go ahead and place in my dart intake, which is 3. The nipple to nipple is 3 plus 1/2 inch, which is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to place it like so. So I'm going to distribute 1/2 inch on both sides, which is going to give me a total of 1 inch. Remember, we added 1 inch to the waist line for the dart intake, so I'm going to split it into 2. That is 1/2 inch on both sides, like so, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to notch the lines so that it's going to show onto the back of my skirt block, so it will be easier for me to actually sew the dart intake. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.